I want to do introductions before I kind of get into this because I know it's going to get a little bit lit, but I'm ready for all three of you guys. Chatter in the back. Hey, foreplay guy, incense. Make your way.
Yeah.
Swordman, go.
Box the shirt.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Chotwither over there.
Oh, you wore the
Thank
shirt.
you.
Let's go.
Paid for it.
Thank you, man.
For you, right?
Phoenix.
Thank you.
So introductions, I want to start with my man on the left. Who you are, what are we here for?
Cool. What's up, everybody? I'm Jeff. I run sales at Digio. We're a quizzing pop-up landing page platform.
Hey guys, I'm Phoenix Ha. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AdBeacon. We're a first-party data attribution and optimization platform. I'm also a media buyer.
Hey everybody, I'm Charlie. I'm founder of Disruptor School. I've spent a lot of money on Facebook and I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm here to try to help you avoid that by listening to my life lessons. There we go.
Beautiful. First off, no clapping at that. No clapping. First
I
off,
like to clap away.
No applause.
No clapping.
First off, my thing is there's been a lot of drama going on, mainly around is Facebook dead? Is Facebook not dead? Is audiences there? Audiences not there? I know when I was using this platform, mainly gathering the information, A, through quizzes, or B, through just asking the right thing. How are you able to provide more information, audience-wise, so that we on the media buying side can optimize? Before you answer this, who's running paid media right now on Facebook? Meta. The whole room. So this is applicable.
Let's just call it Facebook.
Can we just call this? Can we agree that we're calling this Facebook?
We don't call it Alphabet.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, this is a good point. It's a great point.
And it started. Let's go.
We might call it X.
So back into Jeff.
Yeah, man.
How are we able to grab a little bit more audiences without us? Because it's everyone's going go broad.
Yeah.
Broad with what?
So you've got a lot of traffic that's going to the site, right?
Yes.
We had the awesome session on post-purchase surveys. Pre-purchase, you need to use all of that data, asking questions, right? What are you interested in, the categories you care about, but pass that over into your ESP and also your ad platforms, wherever it needs to go in real time, even if they abandon the quiz. Like you'll see a 10% increase in conversion rate lift just by throwing a quiz on the front-facing page of the site, but also use that like pre-BFCM and pre-just holiday season to pass all those different metadata fields into ad sets. So, we have Andy Swim, good example, sells swimsuits, size guides, they're looking at one-piece swimsuits, right? Use all of those different data points, even if somebody abandons it, to make ad sets super badass.
But why am I putting a quiz when I want to pop up to collect their information?
Say again?
Why am I putting a quiz if I'm wanting to put a pop-up to get their email pop for do I do both?
Yeah, you do both. So you can also use the quiz, right, to do email acquisition at first. Like we generally say, throw that email acquisition question, the very first question you ask. But you need to use the quiz to gather further information. It's zero-party data. They're telling you what they care about. So use that stuff to build super-duper solid ad sets.
Charlie, how many brands in the past, and I think 310 Nutrition did this, were they running quizzes to decide on what product to put in front of them, or do any of your current brands do that?
Yes, 310 Nutrition did quizzes, although as we moved away from that, I will say that I think quizzes are really important to understand what your customers are looking for, although I think the reason you run Facebook ads is not to sell all of your products.
What do you mean?
The reason you run Facebook ads is to acquire future cash flow at a profit. In my opinion, the reason I'm running ads is so that I can make money. I want to do that in the way that is most consistent, most stable, and most projectable. If you're selling say you're selling 4 different products, 3 of them are a lower quality investment than the best one. So the quizzes I think are tremendously helpful, but Facebook is ultimately there, in my opinion, to amplify the business model as it exists. For me, the value of the quizzes isn't so much in using Facebook to amplify your business model, but to understand what that business model should be and improve it. But I would like to have a very consistent and stable tip of the spear with which to grow everything else. If I can get better at that by understanding quizzes or also understanding what products are being sold by SKU based off of other information that's coming in, like with the AdBeacon, then I'm gonna understand how better to set up my business model. But I guess the way I want to say this is, I'm not responding to quizzes to decide what products to promote with my Facebook ads. I'm viewing quizzes to understand how to better use the revenue and customers I'm getting to amplify what happens after that initial purchase. Because that initial purchase is a lead to future cash flow. Unless you're just selling a product, in which case Facebook's an extension of you being in an Amazon store.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't have, for instance, we're a single SKU seller and we sell multiple things of that SKU.
Sure.
When we have a new product coming out, like even though I don't know how it's going to do, I'm 100% going to try and sell that shit on Facebook.
Sure.
Now, I'm not going to upload existing audiences. I'm not going to do any of this because I want to see, can this product stand alone? Can this product make money? Even though I have no previous learnings of that, it will make money.
Sure.
So how would you, new product, new launch, I'm setting this up. How am I thinking about trying to make money with this?
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of pushback. People will say, well, like, I don't know my LTV. Well, like, if you have an AOV of your first purchase, that's your initial LTV. You can understand how much it costs for me to sell, how much it costs for me to manufacture, and like, what is the profit I made on that customer? And organically, if you can make a profit on that, then you know what to amplify. In this case, it's one SKU. So if you can make a profit on that, then you can invest some of that profit into growing the opportunity of the rest of the business. I think polling your customers and getting a survey would be tremendous for you to know what the vertical integration opportunities are past that initial transaction. I would say it would be incredibly disruptive and dangerous for you to then chase all of those with other Facebook ads, because it makes the machine learning inherently dumber for you to basically say, I'm going to take what makes money and I'm going to make less money doing that to invest more heavily in things that aren't as effective. And at the end of the day, that's worse for my cash flow. Does that make sense?
It does, but there's sometimes you don't have a choice. Like sometimes you have to sell all the products. So if I were to ask Phoenix, I have to sell all my products. One of them, it definitely isn't as profitable as the other one, but I don't have a choice because I have dead inventory. I don't want to have dead inventory. I want it to move. So if I'm taking my hero SKU, am I keeping it fully in its own campaign? Am I moving it into its own campaign? What is your approach to this?
I'm so sorry. There's a really bad echo up here, and I can barely hear you.
Shut up in the back.
I'm hearing womp womp skew.
So mainly, is this better now?
No,
No?
but it's okay.
He's saying if you want to move a product, if you have to sell a SKU
Yeah.
for business operational purposes,
Okay.
would you isolate that into it? If I'm wrong, correct me. Would you isolate that specifically into its own campaign to push that product, even if it's not necessarily the best investment because business operation mandates that that has to occur? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, okay. It might not be as profitable.
Right.
I have to sell it. Am I putting that in my own existing campaign or not?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, again, it depends on how you want to structure things. If you want it as its own campaign and its own product, and you want to report on it separately, fine. Again, I think a lot of it's blended. Okay, look, I'm a huge proponent of first-party data, right? So when I'm able to, what AdBeacon does is we're able to deduce down from campaign, ad set, and ad what is actually driving SKUs in terms of sales, right? So in Meta, we don't know what people are actually buying. Unless we send them to a product page that's blocked and you can't, roam around the website, you don't know. So again, in its own campaign and it's not, I'm going to react to how is that ad actually driving sales to specific SKUs, whether they be, profit drivers or not. If they're brand drivers, great. I'm gonna kind of flip the script a little bit. So for example, back in the day, right, if you didn't have first party, you would have, let's just say, this Nirvana shirt. You want to push this Nirvana shirt. And you're seeing all this revenue and conversion coming through in Meta, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting Nirvana shirt sales. But then you go into your Shopify, and you're like, I'm not moving the SKU. The SKU is not moving. You're like, well, what are people actually buying? Well, you already knew that it was driving traffic to your site, qualified traffic, and they're buying other SKUs. The problem is you don't know what those SKUs are. I'm always going to bring it back to first party, and then you know what those SKUs are. So back down to, okay, if it's not as profitable, then you have to make the decision. I think you just need to make more educated decisions as to what you need to drive, whether it be inventory, profitability, whatever that is, and then make those decisions off of data that makes sense. At least there's something tracked there. I hope I answered your question, but I think it's just dependent on what you think is most important for your business.
Can I add to that too? I think there's an assumption that people make that I think was in the question that I think you might have overcome as well, is that the product in your ad is not necessarily the product people buy, and that can happen at massive scale.
Correct.
Like sometimes people say, well, I'm out of this product, I have to turn off the ad. And my response is like, I've run Black Friday ads till May. Who gives a shit? If I'm making money, I'm gonna keep going. Like Balenciaga will sell out of their product and still run that ad for 6 months. Like the point of it is like, the purpose of an ad isn't to sell a product. The purpose of a Facebook ad is to get somebody into your store. Your store's job is to sell that product. Your brand's job is to sell that product. Now, that ad might condition them to want to take a specific action. But an ad that gets somebody's attention and interest in the brand, to get them to want to buy from you, is phenomenally more effective than an ad that's really good at selling something that I don't want. And I think that first party data
There's
is
no
really helpful.
guarantee, right, that an ad is going to drive sales to one product unless you only have one product. Okay, like that's just, I agree and disagree, right? But then you also have to be more efficient, right? And you have to understand like what does your brand need to have food at the end of the table, like at the end of the day, right? So I think a perfect case study of this is I run ads for Brixton, okay? They're fine with me sharing this. And we had this, I've shared this with a couple of you kind of in our sidebar chats, but there was this cardigan ad. It was like this red, ugly ass cardigan ad that they did like a collaboration with some really cool person in some state, whatever. And we're driving all this traffic, right? And it's pumping, at least on my end. And I'm like, oh, sick, yeah, cool. But then the CEO calls me, he's like, Phoenix, turn off this ad. This ad is, those SKUs aren't moving, right? Because you see this really great photo of this ugly ass cardigan, really beautiful cardigan. And people aren't just buying that cardigan, but people are buying something else. And what I'm saying in terms of efficiency of your ads, especially as you're going to Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, what if I told you that I now know that people are buying the Dad Gang snapbacks? Let's just pretend Brixton sells these, right? So if we know that, why don't we send people to a landing page that has the cardigan, right? Because they need to see that, but why don't we have those 3 snapbacks and then have a bundle deal, increase that AOV, reduce the amount of clicks, and have better sell-through. So again, efficiency.
When brands are thinking about first-party data, what does that even mean? How do we even do that right now, Jeff?
I mean, it's the shit that they're giving you, right? Customers giving you their data, their preferences. There's a really badass thing that Digio can do called mini quizzes. So it's not a fully baked out quiz as well. Like if you're driving somebody to a landing page, you can have a couple of tiles, like little icons, right? Categorize people down into specific PDPs and use that to drive more traffic to those different products or SKUs you're trying to sell.
Say that again. What? What?
Sorry, we have something called mini quizzes. So
Okay.
it's not a fully built out quiz. If anybody's on, go to andyswim.com.
ANNIE.
ANDIE.
ANDYE.
IE.
IE.
Yeah, they make swimsuits. So on the front facing page, you'll scroll down and it'll say, what are you doing in your Andy? It's a small little selector with 5 different like circular buttons that will drive people into different PDP pages. That's a really good way to just gather first-party, zero-party data, whatever you want to call it, to segment those customers down in the pages that you want. I think what everybody's saying here, driving traffic to the site, then use small, simple tools that don't suck, because you don't have to take somebody through a big-ass quiz. You can make it super-duper small and gather that data. There's some stuff that we do to even anonymously append data before you get email addresses on that. It's a long-ass response I just gave.
No.
Happy to walk people through this, too, afterwards.
So I'm taking the fit quiz, is that correct?
Yeah, so if you're on the front-facing page...
None of this is going to fit me, by the way. None of this will fit
Dude,
me.
I don't know. I feel like you could probably pull it off, man.
I'm thick on the bottom.
It's like one-piece swimsuit.
You'll never know until you try it on.
Yeah, sure, dude.
And then put it on
12
Twitter.
questions?
Put it
That's a
on Twitter.
mini quiz?
So, no, this is on the front-facing page, on the very front page that you get to for Andy. Yeah, there's 5 little buttons. You'll see it.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
this.
find my fit. So you don't have to run people through these big quizzes to gather that data.
Would I run this to, and this would just drop me to random or different landing pages, is now that's 2 touch points.
Mm-hmm.
Am I collecting email before this, or is it just, hey, this is what you're looking for, here's where you're going?
It's up to you. Like, there's a way to anonymously append data to that profile without grabbing email. If they get to the cart level, give them 10% off after that first initial landing page with the mini quiz. It really depends on the brand and what you want the user experience to look like. And that's not a great answer, but...
But I wanted to piggyback on that too, because this is a great way of executing stuff that people have been doing for decades and decades. Like, If you want to know,
Decades and decades.
sure.
I think the industry has been around for like a couple, only like one.
This exists well before digital marketing. Like, do you know what your customers buy, right? Like, and the thing was, especially if you're coming into Black Friday and you're trying to understand like what you're gonna do, like, this is one thing to do a post-transaction survey, great. I understand the people that are willing to take a survey after the people that bought, okay. But of the people that buy, like what's the second thing they buy? What's the third thing buy? What's the cash flow cycle? How long does it take from one purchase to another? And like if you're running media or you're running a business and you don't know how long it's gonna take somebody to take one purchase and get to the second, when that future cash flow is gonna happen, what that customer journey looks like, then you don't understand what type of customer to target to best acquire revenue. If you're trying to grow your business, making money should be something that you're good at. And like, even if you don't have this stuff, believe me, you should probably be doing this stuff. If you want to get like into Excel nerdery, you can go into like new customer, returning purchases, and just break it down as like what day did those things happen, what are all those products that people are buying, and you can understand what the average customer wants and what they need, which is gonna help you put together great bundles for Black Friday. Like at Under Outfit, I mean, you brought up 310 Nutrition, which we did great. One of the things we did over, the last year or whatever, to go from like 50K a month to a couple million a week is like,
Incredible job, Charlie.
Just saying, this is something we did to get us there. Thank you. Not the first time, won't be the last.
Oh, God.
The point of that is, though, one of the things, the biggest thing we understood from that, based on a similar data you can get from first party or from surveys, and it would have been a lot easier had we probably done that, is we knew that like a woman over the age of 35, a woman over the age of 55 is gonna come back and buy 3-4 bras. And she's gonna come back maybe 6 months later and make that same purchase. So we know the AOV, or the ROAS or whatever, but we also know more importantly the profit margin and how long it's gonna be until they come back. Now a woman under the age of 35, she's gonna buy 2. And odds are in 25 days, the average woman's gonna come back and buy half another bra. No, not buying half a bra, but the point is that the numbers overall. So that lets you understand, what does my customer want? And so you can start to offer construction around the typical customer journey to figure out what kind of bundles you want to run during Black Friday. So what we did that in case was we did buy 3, get 1 free. And we also knew that because people were coming back and paying full price, they weren't price conscious. So then we offered like buy 3, get 1 free. And how about we do a $200 gift card for $150? Now we're taking that $100 LTV, we're making it like $200, $250. When we do a membership program like what Ben is doing at True Classic, we can make that a $300 purchase because we're understanding what the customer wants. Now that took us with extreme Excel nerdery, stuff that like if we had just done maybe a quiz, we would have found out a lot sooner.
I think we're all saying the same thing, right? Like we need to speak to customers in a much more, I would say, tailored way. Like the days of just like saying 70% off, deep discounting is just not gonna work unless you really wanna dip into your margins. Like that's fine. I think there's more creative ways to do that, and if you have access to data to understand what they want, right? So often we tell our customers what they want. We say, congratulations, you get a bundle, right? Maybe that's not, with a specific SKU. And we don't really look at the data to recognize whether or not that's exactly what they want. Right, and I think to both points, right, whether it be survey or just analyzing specific cohorts of people that might buy more frequently than others, you have to tap into that. And then you have to listen, and then you have to get creative as to what those offers are. Do whatever you possibly can to not dip into your margins. Maybe it's an inventory play, like I said, during Black Friday. Figure that out. But I think the days of deep discounting, okay, let me take it back. I'm really worried about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and what that looks like in the space because I look at Labor Day and I go, okay, how deep are they discounting? And then is it going to be a precursor to what's going to happen during Black Friday?
Show of hands, how many of you guys think is going to be the biggest Black Friday you guys have experienced for your brand? Show of hands. How many think it's going to be good but not incredible? How many of you guys are a little bit nervous for it? Nobody's, okay, 2. Okay, why are you a little nervous for it? Hey Zoe, can I borrow one of these? Why are you nervous?
I think it's going to be our biggest Black Friday ever, but I'm
That's not what?
I'm nervous about that. That's scary.
Like, more excitement?
That's scary.
Okay,
I mean,
that doesn't help me.
Well, you guys are going to wreck. I know you're going to wreck.
Okay, but you're nervous because
what?
you're at a. You're nervous.
Wait, can we define what that means?
Stop. You're nervous because of there's too much excitement.
I mean, like, if our website breaks at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, we could miss out on like significant revenue. Like that's scary.
Okay, who has that fear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody else has that fear? Okay.
Or like ad account gets disabled randomly. I mean, that shit happens all the time.
But in terms of the performance of the offer that you're choosing, you don't feel...
I'm not worried about that. We've been testing into that all year long. I mean,
What do you mean you've been testing into that all year? What does that mean?
Cookware is a very like tentpole sales driven moment. So like we are like the offer that we roll out for our acquisition offers that we roll out for Black Friday will be like the top 3 offers that we've ran all year leading up to it. The retention offers, we've been splitting up our retention segments into 2 to 4 segments for the last 3 sales, keeping those segments siloed the entire sale, looking at a contribution margin per recipient at the end of every single sale. Like our website, collection page, product pages, like we've been CROing it every single sale. Like
Cool.
we're gonna be super dialed by the time we roll around to Black Friday.
So he's nervous on what it should be potentially. Anybody nervous on like why it wouldn't? Throw it back to the gentleman behind you.
Yeah, so we've been looking at our year-over-year growth from non-sale period.
Can you share what, you don't have to share the brand, but maybe the
I'll
industry
share the
you're in?
brand. Yeah, we're Iron Neck. It's a neck strengthening device. Our AOV is around 350.
Okay.
We are looking at our year-over-year growth rates during non-sale periods versus sale periods. Non-sale periods, our Shopify and Amazon growth rate is about like 30 to 40% year over year.
Okay.
But our sale periods is actually down. So we're about to go into the biggest sale of the year, fearing that we're going to see that as well for Black Friday. So
Taylor, right behind him. How are you feeling coming into this Q4?
So I think the trend that he's describing is actually interesting because a lot of brands are sitting on a much smaller set of new customer acquisition this year than they were in previous years. And so we would use the metaphor of like...
Some would say the sponges.
There you go. Sponge is a little dry. Yeah. And so what that means is generally sale moments tend to be an extraction of value from your existing customers. And so it's all predicated on how much new customer acquisition you've had ahead of that moment. And so I think that's one of the things to consider is like, I would look at what we would call net active customers. So new plus returning plus non-lapse, like, and see how many you have ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday in comparison to last year. It'll give you a really strong indication of the future value of a moment when you're going to extract from that group. So.
And I think that's an exercise everybody getting. That's kind of what you were alluding to of like, you have to dig into what was happening,
Yeah.
or else it's not going to matter what you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been guilty of making bundles that look great on paper that nobody gave a shit about. Like, I can get a pair of socks, 20 cents landed, charge $15 and mark it 20% off, and nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, but you're selling socks too.
I mean, fair enough. I got Outweigh on, by the way. Shout out to them. Just whatever. It's nice, good people.
Anybody else have a couple questions on Facebook specifically? One sec.
Yeah, I'm curious, what are your thoughts for the like when the season will start and end for BFCM? Because the trend that we've seen is needing to start earlier and earlier just to get ahead of the competition, to get our ads enough impressions to sort of have some footing to scale up high enough during the peak days. So for us, our holiday season starts in October.
Yeah.
Who else's
we'll
holiday
probably-
season starts in October? Couple hands?
Yeah.
In November? Okay.
Yeah, so our holiday season starts in October. We do like a pre-BFCM flash sale at the very end of October, and then we start our Black Friday sale first week of November, and we're pushing a post-Black Friday December sale. So now it's like BFCM quarter. So curious what you guys are predicting in terms of how to plan and schedule.
Yeah, I'll go real quick.
Keep it for now.
Every year it's so interesting. I looked at the metrics and I'm happy to share if you want to reach out to me. I have the actual percentages of when people are buying and it's been pushed up. So it was 2020 to we're in 2023 now. Wow, life. 2021 to 2022 and how it pushed up to October. So I think you're right on the mark there. I think also something to consider too is what is your BFCM lead up? So like what does that strategy look like? So right now we're driving traffic, right? Heavy traffic so then we can acquire new customers at a lower cost, hopefully. And then, we'll retain them, and then there's the LTV factor, right? Those are the 3 pillars we always look for. So I think October, you're right on the mark, as early as possible, but what are you doing to drive traffic? I want to give a shout out to Ridge real quick, because I'm looking at these ads and I see that giveaway. Is everyone looking at that giveaway of that really beautiful car? Is it a Bronco?
I think it's a Bronco, yeah.
Yeehaw, because I wanted Bronco, but I don't because the gas, wow. But anyway, shout out to Ridge, right? And the new product offerings with the rings, et cetera, right? So they're just constantly driving traffic, and how they're doing that is really smart. And if we can think outside the box, and I always said this, how do we create silence in a sea of noise? You're already winning. So sure, October. I think we also kind of drive the market a little bit, right? Whoever starts first, then we push. But yeah, I think you're right on the mark. And if anything, it's always going to get sooner.
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing to that too. Like, it's one thing to think about that in a macro sense. It's another thing when you're talking about like unit economics of digital marketing. You have to remember that Q1 CPMs are the lowest of the year. You also know that buying behavior is most aspirational for ourselves. And generally speaking, those folks, that is the cheapest time to acquire new customers. Come Q2, advertising costs go up. The primary reason they go up, obviously there's outside factors. Like, I mean, there's, TV shows, sweeps, stuff like that. Like, I've spent $1 million a day for CBS, and it's just like there's a bunch of people like that just blowing money. But you also have to remember, like, there are environmental factors of supply and demand. As soon as you start hitting summer times, like, people are on their devices for less time each day, for less often, and their spending behavior's down. By the time Q3 rolls around, we're kind of over that bell curve and returning back to normal. By Q4, we have the most inventory of any time of the year, and the highest spending behavior, intent throughout the whole year. So what I would like you to think about maybe is less of what's the holiday season and more of it's Q4. How am I going to use this opportunity? And I think a lot of people use that to say, I'm gonna drive the best discounts I can to get the most customers I can for the cheapest price. I would challenge that to say that's the job of Q1. In Q4, you have the choice of trying to acquire the lowest value customers, because the price conscious, so the idea of them giving you more LTV is, they're the worst LTV customers you can get. So you can make the lowest margin on the lowest quality customers at the highest scale. Or you can say user intent is the highest, and I can get the highest value customers, selling them the highest value products and jacking up my AOV in a way that also pushes out the cash flow cycle. So if in Q1, I'm selling things where that person's gonna get a smaller pack and they're likely to come back at smaller offer and they're gonna come back sooner. In Q4, that is also extended. So by the time Q2 rolls around next year, you're getting the Q4 rollover cash flows and the Q1 rollover cash flows. So when Facebook becomes expensive, you don't really give a shit because all of your customers in Q4 and Q1 are coming back to buy again. So I would say that I don't think of it as holiday season. I think of it as the average unit economics of the market, and a Black Friday sale is just another brand term thrown onto something as a sales pitch.
Awesome. Manu?
Yeah, he kind of answered my question right there, but I'll tell you something makes me nervous. Like, nobody really talks about it because Black Friday, all people think is, we're gonna break records in sales and revenue. That, it seems all that matters in e-commerce. And it makes me nervous because what's the real health of your business, right? Like, are you profitable? Is it gonna put you in a hole? Last Black Friday was the best 2 weeks in revenue, like individual weeks of the whole year, right, for us.
Sure.
Great weeks, broke records, we're super excited. It put us on a hole because we spent a lot of money to bring those customers in ads, of course. The main ads plus the Black Friday ads, we spent a lot of money. Also, we blew a lot of inventory, and then you gotta make up for that inventory. You gotta pay for it, right? So is it worth it, like pushing that hard, or you just gotta keep, because I run my business on a daily P&L. For me, profit is main. I have a finance background, right? So it's very important for me. So is it worth it, or should you just use your first party data to run the sales? So, sometimes I think the holiday season might not be as worthy to push so hard because it can put you in a hole. I don't know if it makes sense.
No, how many of you guys are considering not doing anything unique for Black Friday and just status quo, knowing that the moment in itself will drive more revenue? Do you mind sharing a little bit? What are you keeping it status quo? Are you doing anything unique, or you're just kind of changing over banners?
I feel like a lot of it, yeah, there's a lot of buyer intent, and every year that I've like tried something new, it basically like it always goes back to the same easiest deal. Like people
Which is
don't
usually
want
what?
25% off. we run that like 6 times a year, and never fails. So I think that like there's already a lot of intent. So
Sure.
like you could just be spinning your gears for no reason.
Which is what you're like, is it anybody else on the same train of thought for that? Anybody else in the opposite train of thought where like, we are crafting something we've never done before, let's just see what happens? No?
Up at the front.
Good, you probably shouldn't do that.
Shaq.
Wait, you're doing that? New product launch. Who's doing new product launch during major moments? Has anyone done this before and you liked it? What did you like about launching yours?
This is actually for our clients, but we've seen up higher. So we've seen that you already have the traffic, right? Everything already exists. You have everybody that's coming to your site. With the product launch, you just build more energy behind it. Like it's just something new. It's something fresh. It's something that gets them to the site beyond that 25% off. You know, something that I don't know what his name is. But
What was your name again? Ben.
Ben. What Ben was just saying is there's an energy in Q4, right? People are going to buy no matter what. They're there to spend money for the holiday season. A lot of times, if the discount doesn't auto-apply, they might not even actually use the discount code, right? So people are coming to your website. Getting that new product actually drives more people to the website, past purchases, because now they have a reason to come back.
Respect. I appreciate that.
I wanted to chime in really quick.
This is the last thing.
That's fine.
Cool.
That's fine.
Last chance.
Yeah, there was new product launches are really interesting. So to your question, I would say, like I said, get crafty. How do you drive traffic at the lowest cost possible? Qualified traffic, right? So you have to get creative. I've said this multiple times, so this is nothing breaking, like news breaking. But again, Instagram Lives, if you have a really strong following, TikTok, what can you do, right, to drive that traffic? And then you've also got, like, let's just say, we talked about bundle deals, fine. But then if we really talk about, like, for example, product drops, what we did is every single week we had a new product, or every single day we had a product. We call them Holly deals. It's this idea, because I come from footwear, right? Does anybody like footwear? Yeah, cool. Awesome. So we saw a new drop, and we're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go to the site. I'm going to keep coming, right? How do you keep people coming and keep people interested? And then what we often saw is that the new product drops or the new releases that we had, they were buying those and not buying the discounted item. But then again, there's no definites, right? There's no one way to buy ads, and there's no one way to do offers. But you have to think outside the box. And I do like the higher intent idea, right? So you want the best customers to come and buy from you rather than someone else, and you want the most. So how do you speak to those people? You have to have correct, I would say, data analysis to understand their buying behaviors. How are you speaking to them? And then for the new people that are coming in just because they're on a buying frenzy, how do you speak to them but lock them in to want to buy from you consistently? It's the why, not the how, always. So I would challenge you there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jeff, Charlie, and Phoenix, thank you guys very much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.